Welcome back to the place where we tell the truth. This is the one space where we're brave enough to look straight at the crumbling lies of narcissistic delusion with sharp, honest clarity. You are here because you survived a battle that left no visible scars, but almost burned your soul to ash. For years, you were the host to a parasite that fed on your empathy, your light, and your willingness to believe a beautiful story. Today, that power balance starts to shift for good. We are stepping into the darkest part of their manipulation, the sexual trap. This is biological and deliberate, a planned theft of your dopamine and oxytocin designed to turn your own body into a cage. We are answering the question that still echoes inside you. Why does someone who says they love you turn intimacy into a weapon to tie you to their inner emptiness? Picture a movie scene where the shadows stretch long and the air hums with the threat of a storm. You stand on a bridge set on fire by the very person who promised to keep you safe. At the start, they didn't pull out a knife. They leaned in with a kiss. They didn't put you in chains. They used the most intense, soul-shattering connection you had ever felt. But it was an illusion, a chemical hook designed to lodge itself deep in your nervous system. You are here because you feel like an addict who can't stop going back to the very source of your pain. You question your sanity. So let me say this clearly. You are not broken. A trained, predatory mind knows exactly how to keep its grip. The narcissist trades in one currency only: your reaction. But the sexual trap is different. It is their final weapon, their nuclear option. It makes sure that even when you finally see the monster behind the mask, your body still aches for their presence. Have you ever felt real physical pain when they pull away affection? Wondered how the same person who cuts you down in the daylight can make you feel like a goddess or a god at night? This is not love. This is a high-stakes psychological game where your nervous system is the battlefield. Today, we're breaking down 5 ruthless strategies they use to turn your most vulnerable moments into the bars of your own prison, keeping you tied to their darkness. Stay with me, because this is not only about their cruelty. This is about your release from a cage you didn't even know you were in. For too long, you were stuck in the endless loop of why their behavior changed, why nothing made sense, why you felt like everything was your fault. Let me be clear. Your high-value empathy was the only thing holding their darkness in check. A narcissist doesn't want a partner. They want a power source. They use intimacy to recharge their empty core. Then they rely on the chemical bond it creates to stop you from leaving once you're drained. By the end of this journey, you will understand how this theft worked and how to take your body back from the predator who tried to live inside it. Think of this as a documentary of a psychological shipwreck. The narcissist is the captain who throws the lighthouse keeper overboard because the light showed the cracks in the hull. Now they sail blind into the dark, convinced they're finally free, with no idea the rocks are just under the surface. But you are the lighthouse. You are the light they tried to put out. They use the sexual trap to dim your glow and to convince you your value only existed in how well you serve their needs. Today, we flip that switch. You will see that the connection you're grieving was actually a carefully planned campaign of biological warfare. We like to believe narcissists walk away untouched. We see them online with a new supply, looking happier than ever, and it feels like a deep injustice. But hear this. What you're seeing is propaganda. It's a staged image hiding a huge inner collapse. The narcissist is a dopamine addict who burned down their own pharmacy. The sexual trap was their attempt to steal your sanity to fund their own. When they bind you through intimacy, they're showing you how completely they depend on your light. Without you, they are just a shadow screaming into emptiness. And today, we start to silence that echo. This script is both a psychological autopsy and a movie-style reveal. We are going to pull apart the ego's last desperate explosion and show you why their so-called new life is actually a wild, panicked runaway from the shame of what they did to you. They may be riding the high of Duper's delight, but that rush is already fading. The tragedy of the narcissist is this. They search forever for a home they can never live in because they burn down every place they enter. By the end of this path, you will no longer see yourself as the victim. You were always the prize. You were the treasure the thief was too damaged to keep. And the chemical chains are already starting to shatter. Have you noticed how they often grow colder and more cruel right after a moment of deep closeness? That's because they fear the intimacy they act out. Binding you was never about love. It was survival for their false self. They believe that if your dopamine stays hooked on them, you will never fully face their betrayal. But your body remembers. And today we begin clearing the predator from your bloodstream. The truth is out, and the narcissist time in your inner temple is ending. We are stepping into the core of black hole psychology. A narcissist exists only through the reflection of other people. When they use sex to bind you, they are slowly cutting off your sense of self so they can keep their own. They think that by devaluing you, they are freeing themselves. But in reality, they are throwing away the only real mirror they had. What comes next is a guaranteed fall into nothingness, drifting from one shallow connection to another, fading into the shadows they themselves created. Each new connection becomes thinner, emptier, more fake than the one before. The ending is not a big explosion. It's a slow, humiliating fade out, a quiet whimper in a crowded room where no one even knows their real name. And you will not be there to see it. Get ready for Chapter 2, where we pull back the curtain on the 5 hidden mechanisms behind this sexual sabotage. We will use raw, gut-level images to show you the chaos that takes over their inner world once the light of your empathy is gone. If you are ready to stop staring at the burning bridge behind you and finally turn toward the horizon of your own freedom, you are ready for this truth. The narcissist did not choose you because you were weak. They chose you because you were strong. And they used the most sacred form of human connection to try to break that strength. But you are still standing. And the unveiling begins now. This is the moment you stop being supply and start being the survivor. Tactic 1 is the mirroring illusion. In the beginning, the narcissist is not loving you. They are studying you. They watch your desires, your fantasies, your unmet needs. Then they shapeshift into the perfect sexual and emotional image you always hoped you'd find. It feels like fate, like a deep soul connection, but it's identity theft. They put on a mask made from your own essence. During intimacy, this creates a powerful chemical high because your brain believes it has finally found the one. In reality, you are falling in love with your own ability to love, reflected back at you. The second tactic is intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive pattern the human nervous system knows. The narcissist floods you with intense affection, then suddenly turns cold, distant, even disgusted. This creates a dopamine trap. You start chasing that first high, working harder to fix a problem you don't understand. Your body releases cortisol during the cold periods and oxytocin during the brief moments when they come back around. This chemical whiplash builds a trauma bond that is stronger than logic, chaining you to the hope of the next hit of validation. Third comes the triangulation of intimacy. The narcissist brings exes, rivals, or imaginary competition into your most private space. They compare your body, your performance, or your desire to someone else, turning intimacy into an audition. This stirs up insecurity and competition, making sure your focus stays locked on pleasing them. They want you fighting for their approval so they can stay on the pedestal. Safety is stripped away and replaced with desperation, forcing you to earn what should always have been freely given. The fourth tactic is the pedestal collapse. During the love bombing phase, they lift you up, worship you, make you feel untouchable. But it's a strategy. The higher they raise you, the more brutal the fall. Once they feel they own you, they switch off. Sex is now used as punishment. They want to watch you beg for what used to come easily. This planned withdrawal wipes out your self-worth and teaches you to tie your value to their desire. Your sexuality becomes a bargaining chip. Bait on a hook. Finally, there is degradation through devaluation. Shame walks into the bedroom. They mock you, ignore you afterward, or treat closeness like a burden. They smear your most vulnerable moments with feelings of worthlessness until you start to believe you are damaged, unlovable, replaceable. This is the deepest lie. They want you to believe their darkness is your only home. It is a slow killing of your self-respect. Inside the narcissist's mind, none of this feels like cruelty. It feels like control. They do not see you as a full person, but as a system to manage. Their inner world is a graveyard of old identities, and they are terrified of you becoming whole and independent. Sexual manipulation keeps your brain foggy. If your nervous system stays scrambled by drama and desire, you won't notice how empty they are. They numb you before they feed, so you don't feel the damage until you are already exhausted. For the narcissist, sex is about power, not connection. They cannot truly connect. Empathy is out of reach for them. When they look at you during intimacy, they are not really seeing you. They are checking their own reflection in your eyes. They are measuring control. The moment your reaction softens, they feel not sadness, but narcissistic injury. Their inner rage says, "How dare this object stop working?" Devaluation is punishment for your humanity. Their greatest fear is the mirror of truth. You reflected both who they pretended to be and who they really were. The sexual trap was designed to smash that mirror, to confuse you, addict you, and break you until you stopped noticing how inadequate they felt. But a mask cannot be loved, and it cannot love you back. Underneath these tactics is deep loneliness. They are surrounded by people they have pulled in, yet more isolated than ever, because they destroyed the only real connection they had. The cost of turning sex into a weapon is total internal collapse. By using intimacy this way, they ruin their own ability to feel genuine pleasure. They trap themselves on a treadmill of smaller and smaller highs, needing bigger chaos just to feel briefly alive. They become drifters in time, always chasing the next rush, unable to build anything real, moving through life like a hollow shell. They stay blind to one simple truth. They are the main casualty of their own behavior. They think they are chasing peace, but they are the source of the war. You were just the collateral used to fuel it. As we step into chapter 3, the balance of power starts to turn. We look at what happens when the supply wakes up. We pinpoint the exact moment the narcissist feels their chemical chains loosening and the twist that follows. They didn't just trap you, they walked into a trap of their own making. When you stop giving them the reactions they feed on, the narcissist begins to drown in their own emptiness. The turning point. T is here, and it is a brutal wake-up call for the predator who thought they could own your soul through your body. The light is coming back, and the darkness is starting to tremble. The shift begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be yourself. For months or years, you shaped your energy and your intimacy to protect their fragile ego. Then one day, something inside you snaps. Exhaustion takes over. The dopamine loop breaks because the pain finally outweighs the pleasure. You look at them in your bed and you don't see a soulmate anymore. You see a stranger. This is the psychological pivot. The chemical fog starts to clear, and for the first time you see the predator as they are. Power has not just moved. It has gone back to its true owner, you. When the narcissist senses this change, they do not answer with love. They answer with panic. They are emotional parasites, and they can feel when the host is building immunity. They try a massive Hoover, throwing every version of the sexual trap at you, more attention, more passion, more fake vulnerability. But now it looks like bad acting. You see the moves. You sense the desperation. Their final weapon is failing. And for a narcissist, failed seduction is a deep wound to their fantasy of being all-powerful. Watch how they react to your indifference. This is the big cinematic shift. They may bring in a new supply, waving this person in your face to trigger jealousy. Before, this would have dragged you into panic and self-hate. Now, all you feel is pity. You see another person being led into the same maze you just escaped. Your lack of reaction hits them like a blow. It creates a narcissistic injury that sends them into a spiral. They shout into the void, trying to drag the old you back, but the power source is gone. They are pressing buttons on a dead remote. Here is the twist. By devaluing you so hard, they accidentally detoxed you. They pushed you so deep into the dark that you had no choice but to find your own light. They thought they were breaking you. In reality, they were forging you. Now you are untouchable, fully in charge of your own body. You know your body is yours, and your energy is sacred. They no longer have the keys. The narcissist becomes the one begging for a look you refuse to give. The power shift becomes complete at indifference. When you stop caring what they think, stop chasing fairness from them, stop watching their life, you cut them out of your reality. For a narcissist, being ignored feels like being erased. They'd rather be hated than forgotten. Your silence becomes a black hole that swallows their fake greatness. They start to feel invisible. And for someone who only feels real through attention, invisibility is the first step of ego death. You have walked out of their story. When the sexual trap fails, they may ramp up the threats, the cruelty, or the coldness. Anything to get a rise out of you. If you stay calm and quiet, they begin to fall apart. The cracks spread. Panic leaks through the mask. They realize they didn't just lose a partner, they lost a premium source of supply. Now they are starving in a room full of leftovers. When their drama starts to bore you, the truth about their power is set. Their social image begins to rot. Without your steadying energy, they grow manic and reckless. Their mistakes show, their arrogance, their aggression, or their self-pity starts pushing people away. The act they used to hide behind becomes obvious. The new supply is devalued even faster because they are desperately chasing the high they had with you. The fake kingdom begins to shake, and they are the one who loosened the first stone. You win by doing nothing. This is the power of apathy. Survivors often think exposure is revenge, but the narcissist feeds on conflict. That's still supply. The real blow is taking away your attention. You are saying you no longer exist as a force in my life. That is the only thing that truly hits them, because without attention, they feel like they don't exist. If you don't look at them, they feel like nothing. They begin to disappear. You become the black hole that pulls in what little light they believe they had, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. In secret, they obsess over your new life. If you left and started to thrive, they scroll through your photos with a hunger that looks almost vampiric, hunting for some crack in your peace. She must be miserable. He must miss me. But when they see calm in your eyes, a heavy, icy weight settles in their chest. They realize you were the sun. They were only a void, now wiped out by your indifference. Their late-night scrolling becomes a self-inflicted torture session. They haunt a life they will never again be part of. As we walk into chapter 4, the collapse speeds up. We watch the tragic ending of the narcissist who chose ego over integrity, lust over truth, and now stands empty in every area of life. We look at the isolation, the internal panic, and the final unwinding of the false self. The sexual trap becomes their personal hell. They traded reality for ego, and the bill has arrived. The breakdown is total, and no amount of fresh supply can buy them redemption. It starts with narcissistic anhedonia, the complete inability to feel pleasure. Their dopamine system is burned out from years of chasing highs through conquest and chaos. Even with new attention, nothing really lands. The emptiness has grown. They reach for validation through anger and control, but validation without real connection gives no nourishment. They are starving in a hall of mirrors, and now the mirror doesn't reflect back what they want to see. What's left? is a cold, conscious boredom that feels psychologically deadly. Then comes social breakdown. Their smear campaigns backfire. Manic and desperate, they reveal the darkness they used to hide. Friends, family, and followers start to step back. Whispers spread. Their status falls in real time. That hard, predatory stare now meets social exile. They find themselves alone on an island of shame, realizing they never had friends, only former targets who finally got away. Inside, panic takes over. They convince themselves the whole world is laughing, that people are plotting against them, that their fading importance is a huge conspiracy. This is pure projection, self-hatred thrown outward. They pull away or explode, attacking anyone who witnesses their fall. They choke inside a mental prison made from their own lies. What they thought was power collapses into total powerlessness. Their body starts to show the damage inside. Aging narcissists often develop strange health issues, chronic fatigue, or rapid aging. The strain of keeping up the false self wears them down. They look in the mirror and don't recognize the bitter stranger looking back. Just months or a few short years after believing they were untouchable, the tragedy is written on their face. They become walking proof of the cost of this kind of inner war. They fade while the people they once haunted start to glow, and the contrast destroys what is left of their ego. The final discard doesn't come from a person. It comes from the sexual marketplace itself. They age out. They become irrelevant. Competing with younger, healthier people exposes the truth. They are like an old car with a ruined engine trying to race sports cars. All they have left are worn-out lies and rusted charm. They starve at life's banquet because they never learned how to show up as a real guest. Every glance in their direction becomes a reminder of what they lost. The end is a total loss of identity. After lying for so long, they forget who they were ever meant to be. A ghost in a stolen suit. They cut off their own humanity. They wander through social spaces looking for a reflection that doesn't disgust them. They die on the inside long before their body dies. This is the ultimate karma of using people as mirrors. Watch the narcissistic collapse when they see you succeed. Learning that you have a healthy partner who loves your soul, not your supply, hits them like a wrecking ball. They feel robbed of something they threw away. Your happiness becomes poison in their veins. From the shadows, they watch your life unfold and slowly realize you won by losing them. That is a humiliation they cannot gaslight away. Your peace breaks them. Narcissists are social parasites who need an audience to feel real. As they age and their charm turns creepy, the crowd simply walks off. They become the bitter voice in the corner, talking about how things used to be. No depth, no loyalty, no love. Sex without intimacy. Followers without friends. In the name of freedom, they end up in emotional, solitary confinement. And the cruel truth is, they know it. They watch the world move on. They see the people they used thriving in the light while they rot in shadow. This is universal justice. Sharp and final. The one who tried to be the center of everything becomes a tiny dot in the distance. They made the trade, ego over reality. And now the check has cleared. There is not enough supply in the world to buy them a second chance at what they destroyed. As we enter chapter 5, we land on the final truth. This is the closing hit, the emotional closure and power you need to walk away for good. You will see that the narcissist's tragic ending was sealed the moment they chose this path. You are the hero who walked out of the horror film alive. The monster is now dissolving inside its own toxic world. The final truth is here to set you free, and it will change the shape of your pain. Here it is, the secret that rewrites everything. The narcissist's sexual trap was never proof of their power. It was proof of their emptiness. They tied you to them through intimacy because they had nothing real to give. They stared at you so intensely because they were hollow. They were drowning, and you were the only genuine presence they had ever met. You were never just a victim of their gaze. You were witnessing their unraveling. They are the psychological ghost fading away, while you are finally becoming solid in who you really are. Their exit from your life was not your loss. It was your resurrection. For years, you were the battery inside a broken machine. You were the mirror that made a mask look alive. When they locked onto you with that unnerving intensity, they were unknowingly burning away your old innocence to make room for wisdom. It felt like pure violation, but in time, you'll see it was a refining fire. The narcissist did not destroy you. They removed themselves and they took their darkness with them, leaving you with the keys to your own garden. Real empowerment begins when you fully accept their emptiness. You were trying to love a simulation, trying to build a home with a hologram. When they treated you like an object, it was because there was no deep self there to meet you. This is the hard truth that frees you. You didn't lose a real partner. You escaped an illusion. You are real. They are counterfeit. And reality always outlives deception. The recoil you feel in your body is your soul recognizing that you are finally free of the parasite. The narcissist's true ending is stagnation. While you grow, heal, and deepen, they stay trapped in an endless loop of first impressions. The same charm, the same lies, the same cycle of idealize and discard. They are stuck in a museum of their own failures. Your thriving life is the final proof that they don't matter anymore. Every real smile you give, every quiet, peaceful morning, every safe, loving connection you build, each one pops their bubble of fake greatness. Why do they end up like this? Because they have no inner compass. They sail without direction, and now the wind of novelty is gone. They drift into a gray fog of being outdated and unneeded. As time moves on, and their charm becomes uncomfortable instead of attractive, they finally see they have nothing to offer except shadows. They crave the light they once stole from you, but your garden is closed. They scream into the emptiness and get only silence back. That silence is the final verdict. This is the cinematic close of your trauma. You stand at the edge of the forest, and for the first time, you no longer feel the wolf's breath on your neck. You see clearly now, the wolf was always a coward, hunting, only because you kept offering your throat. You have taken your power back. You have faced your own shadow. You wear your knowledge like armor. The narcissist is just a ghost haunting a house you moved out of. You are whole. You are free. You are building your own joy on your terms. The real turning point is the decision that they no longer matter. You don't need apologies from a machine or regret from a parasite. Their life is their consequence. Being themselves forever is their sentence. Imagine living forever inside a narcissistic mind. No love, no peace, no real truth. That punishment is deeper than anything a court could hand down. You have been released from that prison. Walk away. Do not look back at the ruins. You won because you can still feel. They tried to win by hollowing other people out. And in doing that, they lost the only thing that makes life worth living: real connection. They are empty figures whispering at the wind. You are grounded. You are deep. You are plugged into life itself. Your vulnerability is strength. Your empathy is power. You have left the game they keep replaying. They are still fighting ghosts in an empty arena. The war is over. The light is back. To every survivor listening, empowerment is not revenge. It is resurrection. It is taking back the self they tried to erase. They meant to end you, but instead, they helped create a warrior. You are untouchable now. You see clearly. You spot the red flags from a distance. You guard your own garden. The narcissist fades into background noise while you stand in the center of an open, unlimited future. And here is the final truth. A narcissist doesn't bind you because they love you. They bind you because they are terrified of their own emptiness. Their trap was your test. Your freedom is their final collapse. You are the truth. You are the light. You are your own home now. Go live the life they tried to steal. You paid for it with pain, but you will keep it with wisdom. The silence of the narcissist is the soundtrack of your freedom. Walk forward and don't ever look back.